The UFC rankings are out and the heavyweight division is ablaze. I'm Matt Parrino.
I'm Forrest Griffin. We're back and we got two mics and it's kind of like jump starters.
Derrick Lewis takes out Travis Browne in spectacular fashion in the second round. He was struggling a bit in the first round.
He's definitely struggling, and I think it was actually kind of, Derrick Lewis is really good on top. Brian Stann spoke about how big he was. Speaking of Brian Stann, the MVP of that fight, I think, out of the two guys, goes to Brian Stann for the way he handled that interview.
I think the MVP of this show is your beard. I like the gray circles on the corners.
I dyed those in myself. I'm Amish. Didn't know that either myself.
Very nice.
Beard grew in like this, so I guess it must be.
As bad as Derrick Lewis had to go to the bathroom, his performance was just as badass. He looked great out there. He came out
He looked all right.
in the second round. Let's take that second round. Just at the power in those hands. I mean, Browne was using Browne was using a great game plan with those leg kicks.
He actually won the scrambles is what happened there. He won a couple scrambles. He did some of what his corner asked him to do as far as staying off the fence, and he put Travis Browne on the fence. And Travis Browne, too comfortable with a man that large punching at you. Eventually he got something in, got hurt a little bit, and then bad job on the scramble, ended up, and this is what I've seen out of Derrick Lewis. When he punches you on the ground, that's when the trouble begins.
I was impressed with a few very short elbows that looked like they did great damage to start the downfall for Browne, who moves down to number 10. I mean, this is a guy that was ranked in the top 5 like a year ago. I mean, it's 3 losses in a row. Where does he go from here?
Man, I have no idea. I mean, he already changed gyms. I wouldn't know what to tell him. He had an opportunity to win this fight. He was definitely won the first round. What are you going to do?
For Derrick Lewis, a lot of options. You have Francis Zingano, who is the other top rising prospect in this division. A lot of rumors have been circulating about a potential fight with Cain Velasquez, but maybe a little bit too soon for that. What do you think about putting these two rising prospects together as opposed to throwing them maybe to the Wolves at the top 4 of the division?
Well, I mean, I don't want to do that because then we're going to lose one of these prospects, maybe sooner than we should. However, Derrick Lewis wants a couple months off, maybe 3 months. So, I think he'll sit back and wait and see where things play out from there. And, Derrick Lewis, he did point out that he's been fighting a lot. He's been fighting a lot at heavyweight. And somebody please check how often heavyweights fight compared to other weight classes, because I think it's less. I don't know. Check.
Got some homework from Forrest.
Somebody give me some fight metrics on that shit.
And you can tweet it for us and he will answer. He wasn't happy with some of you kind of going after him for his take on Hidden After the Bell last week. Why don't we tone it down a little bit?
All right. I'm right. Don't ever get in a disagreement with me, because if by some miracle you're wrong, I'm never going to stop talking about it.
In the middleweight division, Johny Hendricks makes his debut and looks amazing.
Up to number 17.
Yes, he did not crack the top 15, but guess what? He was fighting an unranked guy, but he did look good. I mean, what did you make of his performance?
He looked good. He looked good for the most part. I made of his performance that he actually had less reach and was less able to use his length than Hector Lombard, who fought at 170 because his arms were too short for 185. I think Johny Hendricks can do fine with guys, and because he's a southpaw, the distance doesn't matter as much. He can do fine with guys that are close to his length, but those guys like a Luke Rockhold is just too long. He can't even get in close to those guys.
So he's kind of a man without a division.
And just looking at his body, he needs to compete at 170. And I think for him that means, I think for him that's just a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job. It's unfortunate, but, it is what it is.
In the women's bantamweight division, Sara McMann came out, took care of business. She moves up 1 spot past Kat Zingano. She looked great. I mean, obviously, the fighter that she faced took the fight on short notice. She was supposed to fight Liz Carmouche in this spot, which would have been a better barometer of where she is. But that's 3 straight wins. She came out, she looked good in the striking, got it right to the ground, and submitted her.
I thought it was good. You had highlighted that her striking did look good. Her striking looked much improved in the start of the fight. Again, it was a small sample size to judge from.
Next up is going to be likely Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko.
I like that fight.
I like that fight too. But I think Sara McMann, who called out, wants her title shot, does she fit in right there? Or do you want to see her maybe get one more high-profile win before she gets that title shot? Maybe against the Holly Holm.
Holly Holm or who's my girl? What's her name? Juliana Pena, maybe? Huh? Something like, they already fought.
No.
All right, well, then they should fight.
As always, go to UFC.com for the complete rankings. And in case you missed it on Twitter, Forrest Griffin has stepped up to be the next in line to face Chris Cyborg. Thanks, Forrest.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome, guys. I mean, everybody kept dropping out of that fight. I'll fight any man or woman at 145 pounds. Except maybe Connor. I don't know. Connor and Nurmagomedov, too.
Nurmagomedov.
Yeah.